go higher in our consciousness. Let's go higher, higher consciousness. Let's go higher in our consciousness. Let's go higher. The time's come for me to change the way I think, to change the way I feel, for me to go beyond what everybody thinks, what everybody says is real. Today I take a step into a time and space of peace and possibility, and here I'm gonna stay until I find my place, my true divinity. Higher consciousness. Let's go higher, higher in our consciousness. Let's go higher, higher consciousness. Let's go higher, come on, in our consciousness. Let's go higher. The journey of 1,000 miles begins with just one step and one idea. I'm moving on, not knowing what is coming next. I'm getting close, I'm getting near to a part of me that touches everything, uniting all reality. I'm the middle between what earth and heaven brings. I am the I am the we. Yeah. Higher consciousness. Let's go higher, higher in our consciousness. Ooh, yeah. Let's go higher, higher consciousness. I'm on my way. Let's go higher. I'm going today. Consciousness. Yeah. Let's go higher. I'm gonna touch the sky with my mind, holding tight. Clouds passing by. Clouds passing by. I'm gonna touch the stars. It's not very far. There is no limit to how high I can fly. Let's go higher in our consciousness. Come on, let's go higher. You can go consciousness if you want to. Let's go higher. Let's go higher in our consciousness. Higher consciousness. Oh, yeah. Let's go higher. It only takes one step, one idea. Let's go higher. Let's go higher. Let's go. Let's go higher. Let's go higher and higher consciousness. In our consciousness. Let's go higher. Higher consciousness. Consciousness. Let's go higher. Now is the time. Consciousness. This is the place. Let's go higher for us to higher consciousness. Let's go higher.
Higher consciousness.
Consciousness.
That's the great Uncle Wow.
Let's go
Un Nefer. We need some higher consciousness in this world, don't we? Peace and blessings, Hetapu, and welcome back. Yes, good to see you tonight on the Kamitic Legacy broadcast. And I want to welcome everyone, especially those of you that are here for the very first time. And if we haven't seen you in 5 years, I think you qualify, right? We haven't seen you pre-COVID, put a 1 in the chat so we can welcome you and put you in the front seat tonight. Such a powerful Very, very important topic that we're going to be talking about tonight. All right, Brandy, welcome. Nice to see you. And she's on one of our Facebook channels. We're on 4 Facebook pages and 2 YouTube channels. Tonight's the first night we are live on Kamitic Legacy's YouTube channel. So special shout out to those of you that are on there. Do subscribe and like our page. Good evening. We have Inez and Tony Scott. Welcome. And Eve, welcome. Okay, where the brothers at? Etapu, peace and blessings, everyone. And Ra Ma'ah, welcome. First timers. First timers get to sit in the front seat. All right, and I see so many of our brothers and sisters with their Kamitic names. You might have seen this week that we have Oser and Amen entering the NBA, right? So the word about Kamit is spreading. Leonard, welcome, first time with us in our webinar room. Great to see you. So before we getting started, I just want to welcome everybody. And I want to let you know about this incredible course that we are talking about over these several webinars. It's called Maat, the 11 Laws of Health, Wealth, and Success. So let me start with a quick overview of that.
Have you been longing for a deeper spirituality to enable you to live a healthier, wealthier, and more successful life? To overcome stress and heal broken relationships? To increase your focus, mental clarity, and resilience to meet difficult challenges and capitalize on major opportunities? Maat, the 11 Laws of Health, Wealth, and Success. A guided meditation course based on the wisdom teachings of ancient Egypt will empower you to do this and much more. The course is designed by Un Nefer Amen from his 50 years of experience as a spiritual guide for thousands. His own meditation expertise has produced over 40 books and 100 meditation musical compositions, including the internationally acclaimed 7-volume Metu Neter series that established him as the world authority on ancient Egyptian spirituality. Your Kamitic Meditation course includes access to member-only webinars and guided meditations that will deepen your understanding of the science of meditation and the divine laws that guarantee progress in life. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Whether you're a beginner or an experienced meditator, you will benefit from all 11 modules that activate each of the 11 faculties of your spirit. Each module includes detailed instruction on the Kamitic Meditation script. This script, that was uniquely developed by Un Nefer Amen, unites the application of the divine laws, affirmations, visualization technique, and mantras into a powerful meditation experience that gets results quickly. Now you can overcome the mental chatter and experience the healing of the meditation state in just a few minutes per day. Invest in your success and well-being. Get all 11 modules and save. Or get started with the 4 powers of the Divine Spirit that lays the foundation for your spiritual evolution. The course is delivered to your mobile device immediately, so get started today.
That's right. So it is a new day. It is a new day. And as a student of meditation, sorry about that. As a student of meditation for 40 years now, and an instructor for over 30 years, I have to tell you that I have gotten major things to take my meditations to another level from this course. For example, one of the modules It's only about 7 minutes of a guided meditation, and you will find yourself in the meditation state that quickly, and then move into the meditation scripting. So it's a powerful course, and this course is supported by a series of webinars. We have webinars for course members only, and we have webinars to inform the public and deepen everyone's understanding about this very important subject. So what you want to do, if you haven't already, you want to make your way over to your app store and download the SoundWise app. This is what it looks like. It's called SoundWise. This is our digital platform. And on SoundWise, you're going to look for Kamitic Legacy. And man, if you missed the last webinar, so many of them are powerful. But the last webinar dealt with the Metu Neter and the tree of life. And it was such a powerful explanation of something that most of us just don't know about. The recording of that, as well as the graphics that were shown in that webinar, are available for you right now on your smartphone. All you have to do is go to SoundWise, get that app on your phone, and then look for Kamitic Legacy. And there's about 7-8 free webinars that you can listen to and start studying. So welcome. Make sure you take action on this information. You will not regret it. So tonight we're going to talk about one of the most critical matters in life, and that's your personal growth and development. I know you've heard it said before that the main person that's standing in the way of your greatness, the main person that's standing in the way of the things that you have yet to accomplish, the goals that you have, your ability to take care of yourself, your family, your ability to stand out and make a difference in the circle of life that you're in. The main person that's stopping that's standing in the way and obstructing that is, of course, ourselves, right? Which is made up of a series of habits, some good and some we need to get rid of. So the subject tonight is about behavioral modification. How do we change our behavior? How do we get rid of some of these habits that just hang in there so that we can be the best self that we can be? And there's no one better to speak about this subject than Un Nefer Amen. And I'm excited for those of you meeting him for the first time tonight. He's a tremendous spiritual leader, teacher, community leader. He's an internationally recognized authority on spirituality in general, and particularly in the founders of civilization, the ancient African founders of civilization, be that in the Nile Valley civilization that we refer to as Kemet, ancient Egypt, be that in India, which you might not be aware, the first civilizations in India, the Harappa Valley civilization, the Indus Kush, these were Black people. And of course, the roots of the Kabbalah, the ancient Hebraic system, the roots of the Taoist system in China. So he has shown himself through his own productivity as the author of over 40 books, over 100 meditation CD compositions, and now the launching of this digital course that makes it so easy for you to go into the meditation state and to get everything out of the great practice of meditation that you should. And that's none other than Un Nefer Amen, who is with us again. And we refer to him in the ancient Kamitic language as the Shechem or Shechem. That's the title of the leader of the nation. And we greet him with the words of power of Un Neter. Power, peace, and blessings to you, Shechem or Shechem.
Power, peace, and blessing. Rakatepu to all of you. Thank you. Thank you once more again. And to our audience, new ones, as well as repeated, our students, welcome. I feel so blessed that you have taken the time out, your busy schedule, to share this evening with us. So tonight we have a little talk about habit. And I'm going to begin from a perspective that I haven't heard, other psychologists embrace. Nature has rendered automatic and subconscious certain vital functions that we need. In other words, our blood pressure, pumping blood throughout the body, digestion and assimilation of nutrients, breaking down and eliminating toxins. These are all automated subconscious activities because they are very critical and vital to our survival. So the wisdom in the universe, which is God creating man and the creatures on earth, did not leave it up to consciousness, conscious understanding and volitional activities for you to be in charge of your vital functions. They were rendered automatic and buried in your subconscious, what you call your psyche, and your physical, your biophysical functions and so on. And so in our social life, in our life activities, the activities that are vital to our success and well-being, nature has this procedure for also rendering them automatic and subconscious. You see that? In other words, for you to be successful, there's a guy, Stephen Covey, wrote a book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. Words that, effect. So the thing is that if you're going to be successful, there are certain things that are best rendered automatic in your subconscious. For example, you buy a book on, a scheduling, book to write down the things you have to do each day, at what time, and so forth, because your business success depends on you carrying out certain tasks repeatedly, or new tasks on a specific day, and so on, an hour, and it requires for you to be punctual, for you to be consistent. So if these tasks are not rendered automatic and subconscious, you will forget to do them. So you'll find days and weeks and months pass where you find that you're not succeeding because you didn't keep up with the things that you had to do. They were not rendered automatic and subconscious. You see that? If your breathing was left up to you, you see that, to your volition, your conscious, will, you may just simply die of asphyxiation. Same thing with eating and digesting your food. If digesting and assimilating your food was up to your volition, you would die of malnutrition unless you had a perfect memory and motivation to do the work. So when you think of habit, just don't think of, well, I have a bad habit or I have a good habit. Understand that what renders an activity a habit is a procedure within you that renders all, vital functions automatic and subconscious. By subconscious, we mean, and non-volitional automatic, we mean that it is not under, once established, it's not under your control. And there are some habits that, you didn't even put in place either. They were there from inherited through your psyche, which has a 500 million years of evolutional programming behind it. You see that? So we have good habits, we have bad habits. Okay? The important thing that we have to understand is that our habits are repetitious actions and feelings and so on and activities, you see, that proceed from our subconscious, controlled by the subconscious. And that's the reason why many of you find it so difficult to break habits, because you don't know how to go into the subconscious to reprogram, these activities. Many of you need to have good habits in order to be successful, but you don't know how to go into the subconscious to reprogram it to manifest this positive behavior. You see that? And, there's a saying that as a man thinks, so goes his habits, so goes, his or her destiny. It's a half truth, because lots of habits are created without you thinking about it. You just simply inherited patterns of behavior, okay, from the old animal kingdom, surviving in the human psyche and brain. You see that? So let's break down, okay, different types of habits. We have habits that are generated by the pleasure reward system within us. You see that? We have certain habits that are generated by the stress response mechanism within us, meaning, we have a stress response to certain triggers, to certain challenges in life. Okay, we get angry, we get upset, and we say and do the wrong things. And we say, oh, we're in the habit of just simply speaking out incorrectly, speaking out of turn, saying the wrong thing. But the thing is that response is coming from the subconscious within you. It's automated and it is subconscious. And unless you know how to go into your subconscious, you will not be able to change that stress response. As a matter of fact, the whole medical profession, is totally ignorant of what is stress, because they talk about managing something that once, something happens and you're going to try to manage it after it happens, and that something has the power to destroy your health, destroy your intelligence, and even kill you. You don't want to manage it. You want to eliminate it, especially when it can be eliminated as a fact. You see that? So the other source of habit has to do with, our sense of motivation. There are a lot of things that we should be doing that we don't do because we lack motivation. And people always walk up to me and say, I have great intelligence, I have these visions of great things that I should be doing, but I lack motivation. How do I kindle motivation to meditate, kindle motivation to keep up with my academic work? How do I kindle motivation to do the things I have to do? And a lot of that, you see, has to do with biophysics and biochemistry, which I'll talk a little bit or so tonight. So we have, the pleasure reward system. We have the stress response system. We just have plain emotional response system, getting, angry and afraid and things of that nature. We say, okay, we're habitually this way because it keeps coming up and we don't know how to change it. You see that? And then we have super motivation, too much of certain biochemicals, in our bloodstream, in our nervous system, that makes us so motivated for certain things that they simply suck up all the oxygen in the room and we don't get to do all the things that we should be doing. So I want you to understand these things, give you an introductory understanding tonight, because it's for you to change these things, you have to learn how to go into your subconscious. You see that? And the first step is to understand that, the subconscious is just another word for the psyche. It's just another word for the soul. Okay. It's just another word for the spirit. And as citizens of this Western world, okay, we need to be aware that, our developmental, institutions, schools and religious organizations and things of this nature have not cultivated the knowledge of meditation and spiritual systems. So they're kind of like, they're short end us, on they give us the short part of the stick when it comes to our development and success. You see that? So let's begin by talking about, the motivation through pleasure reward system. You see that? When something gives us pleasure, okay, that pleasure is a reward. You see that? In other words, if you go to the movies and if you're into going to movies because it gives you a lot of pleasure, you see that? That pleasure is the reward for going to the movies. You see that? Okay, if getting into your car, driving a car gives you pleasure, as opposed to it's a means of getting from here to there, but it gives you pleasure, really turns you on to jump in, because some people, they are in love with the car, more so riding it than having somewhere of great importance to go to. If it gives you pleasure, that's a reward, and that reward mechanism will make you want to repeat that experience. Because you see, when you are experiencing pleasure from an activity, that pleasure, okay, is part of a neurotransmitter hormonal system within you that is generating certain neurotransmitters that affect your health, your well-being. It's kind of tricky for you to understand, meaning that when you crave a particular experience, you might think that, I'm going to the football game, okay? You think that the reward might be to see your hero, score a touchdown. Actually, there's a part of you in your nervous system, in your cardiovascular system that is clamoring, okay, for energy. It wants chi, it wants kundalini energy, it wants more life force in order to keep you alive or keep you healthy and heal you and so on. But that is the base reason why you are craving the experience of going to the football game. But that information doesn't come across to you. Okay, you go into the game, you say, oh, because I like it. Not understanding because something inside of you is craving the energy that you call, pleasure. You see that? Okay. In other words, your heart, your liver, okay, your cardiovascular system, okay, does not experience that energy as pleasure. It just simply stores the energy and carry on its function. Let me give you another example that might bring this home. Okay, you find, for example, that if you have, yeast, candida, that yeast in your system, too much of that candida in your system, an overgrowth. The candida, the yeast, bacteria in your system, okay, thrives on sugar, on sweets, much more than you do. And that bacteria will secrete certain chemicals through your body that will make you, crave sweets. You see that? So sometimes you're craving sweets, okay, not because you like it. You think you're craving sweets because you like it. or because you need it, when in actuality it is a candida germ within you that is secreting certain biochemicals to make you crave, the sweets that the bacteria needs for its well-being. You see that? And if you go on and Google, the subject matter, you will find that, there's more bacteria in your body than actual cells of your body. So a lot of your cravings come from these little critters living inside of you that will make you crave certain, foods that they need, but you think that you are the one that wants it. That's why, Khufu, the great pharaoh, years ago, 1,000 years ago, okay, he said, the first thing that you must know, man, is to know thyself. Let's hear that. Because if you don't know yourself, you're going to credit to, to other things or to yourself, okay, what does not belong in that place. So let's get back. I just went off a little tangent to give you a better understanding that, you see, if you want to understand your habits, you first must understand that every behavior that contributes to your success and well-being has to be rendered automatic and subconscious, meaning it has to be, programmed into your psyche, into your soul. You see that? So that you not only remember to do it when you must do it, but you see, be moved and motivated to doing it. Otherwise, you'll forget. Other times, you might even remember and say, oh, shuck, not today, tomorrow. And then what happens that tomorrow never comes. Tomorrow comes and some other reason comes and you put it off. And next thing you know, you're in a poorhouse. You're not in that house of wealth that you dreamt to be in 6 months down the road. You see that? So let's talk about the biochemistry of the pleasure reward system within you. You see that? Meaning there is a chemical called dopamine, dopamine, dopamine. You see that? Okay, which comes from a molecule called L-dopa. Okay, and that dopamine is generated by the substantia nigra, meaning some black cells in your brain. Okay, that are tied into your experience of pleasure, meaning that for you to experience pleasure, okay, your brain has to secrete enough of this biochemical called dopamine, meaning that if you have a problem generating that chemical, you will not secrete the dopamine and you will not experience pleasure. No matter what, you might be with the most handsome man or the most beautiful woman, or you might be watching your team, score unbelievable points and things of that nature, and you will sit down, you're like a vegetable, not enjoying it because you don't have this biochemical coursing through your nervous system. You can understand that. Okay? So, so it is this continuous secretion of this biochemical, this neurotransmitter called dopamine, okay, in response to certain type of activities that gives you pleasure. And that pleasure makes you want to repeat that activity, okay, not simply because you enjoy feeling good, it's because there are vital functions within you that are being energized by that energy that you call pleasure. It's pleasure to you, but it is, healing, invigorating life force to the faculties in your brain, your lungs, your kidneys, your liver, and so on. Let me give you another example. There's a book called Anatomy of an Illness by Cousins. Okay, this was a gentleman who had a very rare disease, and this is a real story, by the way, right? I'm not the middle illness. You can go on the internet in Amazon and buy it. The gentleman went into the hospital with a rare disease, and the doctor told him, "Look, we have our medicine doesn't have a solution for your problem. Get your business in order, and in 6 months or so, you will pass." So the man read in the Reader's Digest. There's a little portion of the Reader's Digest, a little magazine for those of you who, don't were not alive back then. When I used to enjoy reading the Reader's Digest, there's a part in that says laughter is the best medicine. And I had a little cartoon, a little comical thing there for you to laugh. So he was struck by that statement. Laughter is your best medicine. So he rented, while he was in the hospital, and when he came out, he rented all of the, comedies that he could get his hand on. Even the worst comedies, Abbott and Costello, and the Three Stooges, and just back in that time when those were the comedies that were available. And he laughed and laughed, for many hours every day. And little by little, he began to get better. And in 6 months of watching these comedies every single day and laughing his heart out, okay, he healed himself. He was healed. And he laughed his way all the way he wrote a book called Anatomy of Illness, and he laughed all his way to the back. And he lived for many, many years thereafter. The doctors still to this day don't know, how to cure that illness, but his body, was craving laughter, and he put it all together. And while he was laughing, you might say, "Well, why are you laughing?" He said, "Well, I'm laughing because it is funny." That's not why you're laughing. You're laughing because something inside of you is craving the energy that registers in your mind as funny. But it's not funny. It is life force, chi. It's no different from electricity flowing through, the electrical wire. That is vitalizing your vital organs and things of that nature. You see that? So when you have, if you find that you have a addiction to a pleasurable experience that is interfering from you doing all the things that you must do, then you have to realize, you have to say that addiction to that pleasure, is a symptom of a lack of vitality and energy. You see that? So what you need to do is to get the energy in a different way. If you did some yoga and some qigong and meditation in a proper manner to feed your body and your vital organs with the life force it needs, you will find that there will be a elimination of that craving for that pleasure. I want you to understand that. People said to me, how were you able to write 40 books in 50 years and write over 100 musical compositions, meditation, composition, music, and things of that nature? At the same time, create and manage, a society that has chapters in 35 cities around the world, and do other things from day to day that people have to do. You see that? You could say, well, I was very disciplined, but disciplines register in people's mind as an act of will. You see that? When the most disciplined people are carrying out automatic, actions from their psyche, from the subconscious. You see that? Okay? Meaning that the things that you have to do daily to achieve your goals, you don't want to have to will them, because then you are caught up in a struggle. You see, if you haven't created a habit, then you will be struggling with the ideas of what you have to do. You see that? Okay? So before we go into how you get into, your psyche, to reprogram it, to remove bad habits and put in place good habits. Remember that many people talk about getting rid of bad habits, but they don't talk enough of putting good habits in place, meaning rendering what they have to do automatic and subconscious. So you do it every day at the right time without having to think about it. You see that? Okay. I have a piano student who practices like 5 to 7 hours a day. That's what I used to do when I was a young person studying the piano. Nobody had to tell me, go practice. The time would come and I would just simply go and do it for as long as I had to do it every day because it was coming from my subconscious. It wasn't because I was disciplined, it's because it was rendered automatic into my subconscious. And that's what you have to do. That's why this guy, Stephen Covey wrote the book, The 7 Habits of very effective people. Words to that effect. Okay, so we have the problem of when the habit gets so bad that it's endangering us, we call it addiction. But it's the same thing. When we're addicted to something, it's because, you see, our body, our brain is craving more dopamine, that biochemical. You see that? And your brain is craving more dopamine because your vital organs needs the extra charge of electricity that is generating throughout your body when you say, "Oh, I'm feeling good." You see that? Yes, yeah. Which is what making you repeat the action of addiction. That's what's going on with these young kids. They are, every time these young kids turn on, they go to the social media on their phone. You see that? Okay, to interface with, whatever is on TikTok or, Instagram or whatever. Okay, it gives them pleasure. But that pleasure is generating that, dopamine. Meaning if they had a problem with dopamine production, then TikTok and Instagram, what the things on it will not make them have any pleasure. You see that? And then their vital organs and function will be shortchanged. So, what we need is to have a social conversation, okay, with a higher science level than just simply the easy answers that Western people who don't know that they don't know what they're talking about, that just simply blame it on the kids as being, caught up, whatever, when the adults didn't take the time to find the solution for, the problem. You see that? For example, take tobacco, okay? The nicotine. It's addictive. Why? Because when you smoke a cigarette, you get the nicotine goes into the brain, into the synapses that connects one brain cell to another brain cell, a nerve to another nerve, and deforms the biochemistry so that the dopamine is neutralized very quickly. Okay, so once that dopamine is removed, you crave another cigarette to generate dopamine again. That's why chain smokers will go through a whole pack of cigarettes, because every cigarette releases large amounts of dopamine, okay, but it's a short-lived release, okay? So you keep lighting up, and that's the thing behind, binge smoking. The same thing with alcohol, the same thing with sex. Anything that generates pleasure is part of that dopamine reward system. You see that? And if you overdo the activity, then now the dopamine system crashes and you begin to have that, the withdrawal symptoms. You see that? Okay? So I like for those of you that have the ability to go and talk with each other and Google and get books on neurotransmitters and throw your hat into the ring and come in and help us come up with strategies to help people, the young people especially, with the social media addiction. And it's part of that dopamine motivation thing. You see that? Okay. And so too much things that gives you that reward of pleasure, okay, if indulged too much, can then deplete and damage the dopamine production system, and then you fall into a funk that we call depression. Just the opposite of motivation. That's why depressed people sit in a corner doing nothing, they're not even thinking, and things of nature, just a moment of darkness, because yes, it's not about what's going on in their life. Let's hear that. There are people that are going through 10 times worse, and they are joyful. They're happy. There are people who have all the money and friends and that they could have, and they are depressed. Why? Because the dopamine system crashed on them, either because it was revved up by too much stress response, too much, emotional response, or too much, pleasure triggers. You see that? Okay. So, how do we get rid of these, cravings? We have to go into the subconscious. But that's the problem. You discover that you have a bad habit, and you try to fight it from the level of the will, from the level of consciousness. You see, that's like trying to catch a fish that is on the water, but you are above water, and you're not casting your net or your fishing line into the water. You have to go into the subconscious, because that is where the habits are generated from. And the system for going into the subconscious is what we call meditation. You see that? Meditation is how you go into that underworld within you. Yes, that's the underworld. Okay? It is heaven for those of you whose thoughts are lawful and legitimate, and it is hell for those of you whose thoughts are illegitimate. You see that? So, this course, Maat, the 11 Laws of God, is to identify the 11 faculties of the Spirit, okay, that could be, any one of them could be a source of the negative experiences you call, a bad habit. You see that? The Hedru faculty inside of you, when its psychical counterpart is disordered, will make you seek sexual, sensual pleasure in the wrong places, the wrong ways, and too much, and so on. When the Herukahuti faculties within you, okay, that's the Shangon, the Ogun faculty in the Yoruba tradition. When these faculties, are disordered, the psychical counterparts are disordered, then you become too bossy, dictatorial, and violent, and you have those bad habits of imposing yourself upon others and things of that nature, selfish behavior, and so on. So, when the Tehuta faculty is psychical counterpart is disordered, you find that you think you know more than you could ever know, and don't even know that you don't even know how to know, but you talk like you know, and create a lot of problems for yourself and for others. So the thing is that what you got to understand is that what you call habits, good and bad, are rooted in what you call the psyche and the spirit. And you have to know how to go into the psyche and the spirit to eliminate the bad habits and, put the good habits in place. You see that? Into the psyche. And since we're talking about certain biochemicals, there are certain dietary, things that you must observe. Okay, many of you, not only vegetarians, but meat eaters, you're deficient in a biochemical called norepinephrine, okay, which is the nutritional, source of a neurotransmitter called PEA. You see that? Okay, which you get a lot in abundance also in chocolate. And when you have enough phenylalanine I'm saying norepinephrine from phenylalanine, you will find that you will have enough PEA, okay, and which generates feeling of affection, and that's why on St. Valentine's Day they make you part with your money buying a lot of chocolate for your loved ones, okay. Then the rest of the year you ignore the PEA system within your being, and you are unaffectionate the rest of the year. You see that? Okay, you don't have the habit of being affectionate. You're in a relationship and your mate says, well, you're not affectionate. You lack affection, as if you can will affection to manifest itself. If you don't feel it, you don't feel it, and you don't feel it because your brain is not generating the PEA, because according to your diet is functioning or whatever, you are not secreting, that, you're not converting the phenylalanine into norepinephrine and so on. Okay. Then we have the dopamine system, which is one of the biggest motivating system within us. Okay. And that's the amino acid L-tyrosine. You see that? And be careful how you use these things. If you're going to go to the health food store, before you do that, go and study all that you can study on the internet before you take any of these things. And if any of you have any health problems, speak to your physician before you take any of these things. Too much, L-tyrosine can raise your blood pressure. Taking it too late in the day can make you, can give you insomnia and so on. But the thing is if you have an L-tyrosine deficiency, you're also going to have a dopamine deficiency. Okay, so you're going to lack motivation. Your pleasure response is going to be blunted. So you see that. And then you're not going to understand why you have the habit of procrastinating, why you have this habit of not doing what you should do, and things of that nature. You see that. Then there's another, biochemical called serotonin. Very, very, very important, for you to help sleep well and regenerate well. Okay. But lots of people run to the help. They buy the St. John's wort, herb. Okay. Because they heard that it helps you to improve your mood, because you have this bad habit of being moody or whatever and things of nature. But the moodiness and certain habits of how you conduct yourself with kindness and good mood and things of nature comes from the health of your intestines. So get yourself a good probiotic. Take care of your biome. Get a good probiotics. Okay. I would suggest you become a vegan, but that's up to you. Okay, because meat putrefies in your intestines and things of that nature, and it plays havoc with your biome. These are things that you need to understand. Also, watch the gluten. The gluten damages your intestines. You see that? Okay, so learn how these things affect you, because they will affect your intelligence, your habits, your way of thinking, your way of feeling, and things of that nature. Meaning that having a bad habit or not having good habits is not a character thing. Let me say it again. Bad habits are not character things. They are the manifestation of the state of sanity and health of your body and also of your psyche. So along with these supplements that I'm talking about, there are certain meditations. Just the act of meditating on a regular basis, just that the Zazen technique that we have, that little course in our website here, that will help you to repair your brain. There are a lot of scientific studies that have shown how meditation helps to develop your brain, increases production of white blood cells, the white cells in the brain, the glial cells. It improves, gray matter creation and things of that nature. Just the act of meditating for 30 minutes every day. after several months, they will find that your habits will begin, you have better control over your habits because they help to repair this subconscious mechanism within you. Your psyche is intimately connected to your brain. You see that? And your brain and psyche are intimately connected to all your vital function. So what improves your brain improves your cardiovascular system, your respiratory system, etc., etc., your hormonal system, and so on. You see that? Okay? But this course that we have put together, Maat 11 Laws of Health, Wealth, and Success, okay, will give you the meditation, tools, the mantras to activate, your spiritual faculties. They will give you, example scripts. Okay, when you meditate with a script, meaning the mental chatter, the right mental chatter that should be playing in your mind when you find yourself in a challenging situation. Okay. For example, if you find that you have a bad habits, you should not indulge in mental chatter of putting yourself down, which is what a lot of people do. I can't break this habit. I'm no good. I'm a so-so. No, you're a divine being. And the Maat 11 laws of health, wealth, and success give you 11 sets of narratives that you should be repeating in your mind, you say, to help change your mindset, to help change your behavior, your habits, and your destiny. The affirmations in the course, they are to the Kamitic system, what the Psalms in the Hebrew Bible, the Old Testament, is to the Christians. In other words, the same way that the Christians and the Jewish people have the Psalms to replace, negative human thinking with divine ideas, uplifting ideas. Okay, so did I create 11 sets of, affirmations so that you can elevate the level of functioning for all the 11 faculties in your spirit. So there are much more that we can talk about, but I'm sure they will come out in your questions. Okay, so we can devote some time to questions and answers. And I hope that you have lots of questions, because habits and breaking them and putting good habits in place is very important for our well-being and our success.
Such an important topic, Shekum Shekum. So yes, if you have a question, put it in the chat. And in the meantime, you give me a chance to ask one. Shekum Shekum, so many times, especially as we get older, we learn some lessons in life. We might, get to a point where the problem is not so much that, we have severe bad habits, but we're just not motivated to do the things that we know very well. We should exercise. We should eat a certain way. We should, study more, all of these types of things. We should even meditate, and getting that consistency to do that seems to be a problem for a lot of us.
Yeah, well, it's not aging, but as the years progress, if nobody ever taught you how to, maintain the health and vigor and vitality of your vital functions, these systems begin to depreciate as the years pass. You with me?
Mm-hmm.
You see? For example, there's a biochemical called oxytocin. You see, as well as testosterone. So oxytocin more so in women and testosterone more so in men, that they will tend to decrease as the years pass. So your libido, but testosterone is just not simply libido. It is also your get up and go to achieve things in this world,
Mm-hmm.
and so on. And if you live your life indulging too much sweets and salt and the wrong kind of foods, and so on, yeah, these systems will take a big hit. And you say, oh, it's aging. I'm now 60, I'm now 70. That's not true.
Mm-hmm.
You see that. As the years pass, you got to understand that you got to change Every year you got to change your diet. You got to change your lifestyle. So a lot of people think they're suffering from aging when they're suffering from lack of the cumulative lack of vitamins and minerals and too much sugar and so things of that nature. Yeah.
Okay, so we have Joetta in our webinar room, and she says, how do you enhance the experience of meditation to decrease the desire of things that are not feeding the life force?
Okay, in other words, in the meditation script that we give in this course, the meditation scripts, right, that we give in this course, okay, there's a part in the meditation script where you must create an image. You must compose an image of you enjoying, okay, living the divine law that you're working with. Let's say that in this, for this lecture here today, we find that the chief faculty of the spirit is the Amen part of spirit, right? Meaning how to be at peace, how to generate a peaceful response to a challenge. You see that? Okay, so instead of getting upset and angry, I visualize my person, being congenial, speaking or being in control of myself. Okay, so instead of putting myself down, I'm smiling, I'm laughing. You see that? Okay, and it is this smiling and this laughing, even though there's nothing quote funny happening. Remember, right? You can smile and laugh, okay, even when things are not happening, because the act of smiling and laughter generates the energy that you need to enhance your vital organs. That's why we seek situations that make us laugh, situations that make us smile. But why wait for them? Put them as visualizations in your meditation. You see that? Okay. Another part of the meditation script is visualize the goal that you expect to get from living the spiritual laws. You see that? And that goal in that you want to get, you must see yourself enjoying having it. You see that? When you're meditating, there are 4 parts of the meditation script. The last part of it is you getting a physical bonus, a physical reward. That reward will set up the dopamine production system within you. You see? Now, let me just read a question again. It says, how do you enhance the experience of meditation to decrease the desire of things that are not feeding the life force? You see that? The yoga system has given desire a bad name. There are good things that you should desire. You see that? There are bad things that you should not allow yourself to desire. You see, and as you desire things, you must desire. If I need a decent place to live, if I'm going to meditate to get that place, I must have a desire for it. You see that? But I must feed desire with the understanding that if I don't get what I want, I'm not going to fall apart. You see that? And if I get what I want, I'm not going to become enslaved to it. And all of that depends on how I manage my thinking about it.
Okay, and Jaquise Culp in our webinar room, she asks, how do we get rid of old cravings, habits that are rooted in bad habits? Not sure what she means. Penal.
Okay, how do we get rid of old cravings? Same thing. That in this course here, Maat 11 Laws of Health, Wealth and Success, right? You will have certain modules that you will focus on. For example, you will focus on the Amen faculty, which is to be at peace, meaning that, when you're craving, you are in an exalted state. You're not at peace. You see that? When you're desiring and craving, you're not in a state of peace. So when you are visualizing, your person in the midst of something that you have a desire for, a craving for, see your person first of all, reaffirming the affirmation that is given for the law of Amen, the Amen faculty. Number one, see your person looking at that thing that you're craving for and smiling and laughing at it. You see that? Reaffirming that you're divine being, giving thanks to God that you're divine being, so that thing will not control you. Then visualize, I don't know, what do you expect to get from living as a divine being? What do you expect to get by being in control of your destiny? You need a new job. Do you need a mate? Do you need, to buy a house? Do you need to go back to school? See a person achieving those goals, enjoying the achievement of those goals. You see, so now you are programming a genuine, healthy, emotion that's associated with what you're meditating for. You see that? And Jacquees' question is coming from, not knowing about the meditation script or meditating with a script. You see that, which will answer that question for her. In other words, the Jacquees, our course, Maat, 11 Laws of Health, Wealth, and Success, has 11 modules, okay, that will help you to identify the different techniques and methods that you need to use to overcome, those cravings. You see that? Now, but going back to what I said earlier, okay, you got to make sure that those cravings have not depleted and distorted your neurotransmitter system. Yeah? Because some people overdo the alcohol, overdo the tobacco, overdo the marijuana, which can deplete the dopamine system. You see that? Okay? So that even in the midst of good things, okay, you find yourself not able to be peaceful by yourself, so you got to take the drug. You see that? I remember once when I was a young man at 19 years old, I met this young lady. She was a bit older than me, okay? And she invited me to her house, and after she cooked a dinner for both of us, she lit up and lit up and lit up, and she was in a world all by her own. And then when the next day she said, "Oh, we have such a wonderful evening together." She wasn't enjoying the company. She was enjoying the dopamine release from the marijuana. So part of it, Jacquees, is for you to, get an understanding, you know what I'm saying, of what's behind that thing that you're craving. You see that? And learn to meditate and learn to take certain nutritional supplements. Go speak to a naturopath, a naturopathic physician, to prescribe some herbs and neurotransmitter precursors and things of that nature that will help you to overcome those old cravings. Brian Sands.
So Brian says, quick question concerning meditation scripts. What's recommended for how long the initial visualization to reprogram and the blessing should be, seconds wise?
Well, in the meditation script instructions, it said once you're entranced, that is like 7 to 10 minutes into the chanting of the mantra, right? Okay, to repeat the script. Okay, so you will repeat affirmation once, visualization of living the law once, visualization of living the enjoyment of achieving your goal once, and then giving praises and thanks to God, and do that over and over and over and over again till the music ends, or till you can live for half an hour, you can live for an hour. It's up to you. So you repeat the entire cycle from, visualizing the trigger event, affirming, visualizing, living the law, and visualizing yourself enjoying achieving your goal. Repeat it over and over and over again. Do this every day, okay, and eventually become a physical reality in your life.
And Derek Cross in the webinar room says 2 questions. 1, can you explain what the will is? And what is it to will? And 2, when it comes to health, when it comes to dopamine, if you feel you're lacking, is it a thing that you can pick a product up from a health shop that will help with
Okay, what is the will? The will is that aspect of yourself. It's an aspect of yourself, right? Where you declare an intention to do something. Like when I will go to the barber shop tomorrow. You declared a voluntary action that you're going to take. Yeah. So the will is that aspect of yourself, okay, that declares, okay, a voluntary action that will be taken. Okay, the ability to carry that intention out depends on your psyche, your body, your spirit, things like your mind, and so on. You with me? So that when you say, I will stop smoking today, that's you declaring that's executing your will. You see that? Whether you start smoking today or not depends on your brain, your mind, your psyche, and how much you know about these other parts of you. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, your will is free. You can declare to be whatever you want to be, to do whatever you want to do. That's not the point. The point is to learn about the parts of your being that carries your will out. Meaning understand your mind, your psyche, your spirit that has to carry out what you will. That's where the rub is. When it comes to dopamine, then you go to the store and buy it. Yes, you can, but if you don't know much about it, I would suggest you go sit down with a health professional that can guide you to it. One of the signs of that you might need dopamine is lack of motivation, or a problem with focus and concentration. You know, when the dopamine is very depleted, you might have ADD or ADHD and things of that nature and so on. You see that? So that, and go to the internet. We live in the internet era. Go and just go in the search engine, the Google or the Bing, and put in dopamine. You can see a lot of articles and pop up, a lot of advertisement from Amazon and other sellers pop up and so on. So, and read through it. You see that.
So, as a follow up to that, Sheikh Mashekam, especially if you have young children or even young adolescents, and they have they got a lot of dopamine going on. They have a lot of energy and time to do things that they're finding pleasurable, but when they come to motivation to do things that they need to do to enhance themselves, they are unmotivated or they find that boring. Is their relationship, are they overusing that in one area and that's depleting it in another? Or how's the best way to address that?
Yes, the young people today are finding more pleasure in social media than, let's say, playing soccer. So the whole, or learn to play an instrument, or becoming scholars and whatever have you. So the thing is, and it's that pleasure reward system within us is very strong, because not because we want pleasure, because the pleasure is nothing else but the feeling of the chi, the life force moving through us that's energizing our system. The problem though is that that the activity, the social media interaction activity, is sucking up all the oxygen in the room. You see, that's not leaving opportunity for the kids to study and learn and become, what they really should be about. And right now, there are psychologists and politicians that are very, very alarmed about this. As a matter of fact, there's a movement right now by the platforms to put certain, things on their platform. Now, when a teenager, or something, a teenager, a young person is on for 20 minutes, the thing will shut the activity down for a number of minutes and things of that nature.
Mm-hmm.
You see that? So it's because they're beginning to see that, there's more to just being bored or not having the pleasure, because that pleasure energy is not the feel good. It's the energy you feel when the life force is going into your vital organs. The problem is that when a kid spends hours and hours on the social media, they are depleting.
Mm,
You see, that substantia nigra in the brain that secretes the dopamine.
mm.
You see that?
And is the nature of the instant gratification also a factor that they can get that release so easily, whereas if they were to get that release from learning an instrument, that's a process that's going to take, months or years.
When I was a little boy in Panama, I had to work real hard to get 15 cents to go to the movies on a Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
Today, you just click a switch, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just open up your phone and you're in a world of great dopamine overflow.
Mm-hmm. So Pamela in the webinar room, she says, after purchasing the course, is there a specific time of day that is most effective for study and or meditation?
Yes, there is a specific time of day where these functions are enhanced. You see that? But doing things at a particular time of day requires other things being done at a particular time of day. Like, for example, the books on biocycles, biological cycles that will tell you that the best time of day, let's say, to exercise will be, let's say, around early afternoon. And the best time for cramming before a test will be in the morning. And the best time for transferring something into from short to long-term memory is early afternoon. But that depends on what time you woke up and what time you ate breakfast and things of that nature. So that is why lots of people who know, for example, about the biocycles and biological cycles don't push it, because you see, it's just not picking one time and one thing as the best time to do something. That being said, okay, the best time to do your meditations, especially from the Maat 11 laws, will be last thing you do at night, so that it can go into your dream cycle, because your dream time is when your body, your brain is, assimilating the day's experience and using it to prepare for the next day's activity. You see that? Yes. Now, some yoga teachers say, "Oh, first thing to do is meditate in the morning," but that's when the brain is clearest and it's less fatigue and things. But it's best to do life-changing alteration behavior and things that changes last thing before you go to bed.
Would that be the same when it comes to creating a new habit versus being mindful to break a bad habit?
Well, you're doing the Maat 11 laws course, right?
Mm-hmm.
So whatever your goal is, whatever your application is, best to do it last thing at night so that it will go into your dream cycle.
And on that note, Carlton says, are dreams the complement of our waking thoughts, also called the decodes for the situation one is going through?
Sometimes and sometimes not. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And and the dream thing, requires a real expertise with the oracles. Okay, where you might want to, if you the best answer to the brother's question would be recurring dreams.
Mm.
If you have a dream that recurs over and over and over again, you need to do readings on it and write down what happened the day before and after, because sometimes a dream has nothing to do with the day before. It may have something to do with the day that's coming, or 2-3 days, or down the road. You see that?
Mm-hmm. And Maat Ross says, when do we move on from a specific script? Should we work at the same script every day, or can we work on multiples?
You can work on multiples depending on your ability to handle multiple things. Some people get too ambitious and they take on too many things. Okay, They say, yeah, I would say work no more than 2 or 3 things the most scripts a day. You see that? Okay. As well as no more than 2 parts of your spirit, you see, at the same time. And the thing is that you must stay on the script until it becomes an automatic response in your mind. The purpose of using the scripts is to replace the negative mental chatter, the negative thoughts and ideas that feed your negative responses. So if the script, the affirmations have not taken hold in your mind and your psyche, you don't want to abandon it.
Okay, and Baratu Ma'a asks, can giving yourself the option of being at peace if you don't achieve a goal or obtain an objective also give you an out to accept failure when you should not accept failure, as in war?
As in war, that's a very interesting ending to that sentence, you see. The thing is, there's a saying that it's not over till the fat lady sings. With all due respect to ladies, you see that? It's a saying, meaning that who are you to say that you're a failure? You could fail at something, which is not a problem, doesn't make a failure. You see that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay? So the thing is that that's the whole thing about peace. You see that you must remain at peace whether you succeed or you lose. You see that?
Okay, and Karima says she finds that she has to meditate on visualizing her person being disciplined enough to meditate.
Okay, that's legitimate. That's legitimate. She's meditating to create a habit of meditating, and lots of people have to do that because meditating is not something that most of us were ever taught to do. So there's no program in the psyche, in the subconscious, to make you want to meditate at a particular day and time. I had to do the same thing myself 2 years ago. You see that? I would find myself automatically getting up doing the things that I was programmed to do. You see that? Study the music, so the history lessons, write my books. And I said, well, I didn't meditate today. I had to work on that. That's a habit you got to create.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and Dwayne is chiming in on the same thing. Now, if one thing I did want to share, Shuckum, just as feedback from the course, is that I recognize that over the years, people kind of conflate what's involved in doing a meditation. So you've been like, oh, I didn't have time to get my meditation in, but the way the course is structured, you can be very effective in just like 20 minutes.
And let me say something, right? The meditation script, right? Okay, let's say that you write down that you're going to meditate every night at 9 p.m., right? So your script shows you're visualizing that it is 9 p.m., right? And then you find yourself affirming the law of Heru. You see that? Which is freedom of the will to choose to do what you want to do. You see that? Or let's say if you're not meditating because you have a bad habit, okay, that's interfering. So you're using the law of Herukahuti to cut. See yourself just simply, making yourself do what you got to do. You see that? Then visualize step 3 of your meditation script is to visualize your person now sitting down, meditating. You're smiling, you're enjoying. But then the most important part of that script will be visualize your person enjoying the benefits of meditation. What do you expect to happen in your life? Okay, once you get to the point that you meditate every day, are you going to have a better job? Are you going to have, more money? Are you going to have a better health, better relationship with others? See yourself having a good reward for creating the habit of meditating every day. That's why people sometimes have problems with meditation, or they're not using a script where they're seeing themselves enjoying something. You see, the psyche and the brain works through a reward system feedback. That's why step 3 and step 4 of the meditation involves you enjoy a vision of you enjoying, living according to the spiritual laws or principles, and enjoy your person, see yourself enjoying having what you want as a result of living spiritual laws. Then the final step is giving thanks to God for the knowledge and the ability to live as divine being. You see that? Because when you have gratitude for something, there's joy there. You see that? Okay. So the meditation script is just not simply 5 steps of things to do. It's very powerfully engineered to make that dopamine flow big time in your brain. You see that? And if you meditated instead of half an hour, if one day you did it for 4 or 5 hours, then you get to the point where the brain begins to generate not just simply dopamine, but endorphins. It's opiates. And you get the high that you, without having to have the mushrooms or whatever. And that would be positive, safe high,
So that would that apply as well for any habit that we know we need? Like we have a job and we don't like the paperwork, or there's certain things we don't like, that we could use that same technique you just described to generate the motivation to do what's necessary to be done.
If you have to do something, then meditate to like it. That way you have the support of your psyche and your spirit behind it. Yeah? And you find yourself learning about yourself, learning about the task. And the task becomes a metaphor for other things. You see that?
Yes. Melanated Magic, if you would, could you phrase your question in a way that relates to the subject matter? We're talking about meditation, the script, and the cultivation of success habits and transcending negative habits. This question here from Akito is, as for meditating at night, what if you work at night? Will that adversely affect the progress of the system?
Well, let's put it another way here. If you work at night, the meditation done before you go to bed, if it's in the day, right, will help to undo some of the problems of working at night. When you work night, conscious employers give you differential pay because they know that working at night is not the best thing for the human, body, and so on. So meditating whenever you can, especially before you go to bed, will undo, the problems from being a night worker.
And related to that, we have a question about meditating at night where a person feels like they get too energized and it keeps them up. And then another person asks about Zazen to help from falling asleep during meditation.
Well, if you find that you are, have problems sleeping when you meditate at night, right? It could be that the breathing, there's too much energy being put into the lower abdomen, right? In other words, you're energizing the vagus nerve too much. So I would just simply say, put, the pressure in the lower abdomen, make it very, very, light, you see? But then again, what are you doing the hours leading up to going to meditation? Are you involved in a lot of stimulating activities? Okay, what was your last coffee? When do you have your last coffee? You see that? Are you exercising in the evening? There are a lot of stimulating things that we do that we blame the meditation on when it's other things you did leading up. How many cup of coffees do you have a day? You see that? Okay, and so on. So I will ask the person to do a deep dive into their lifestyle.
And for those of you who are part of the course already, like Felix, you can always put some of your questions in the comment sections of the course, and we'll do our best to integrate that into future webinars. So Bill Corbett asks, what happens when your goal is esoteric? Like if your goal is to become an ebb person, how do you visualize that? Is it to see the behavior only?
Well, to become an ebb person is to grow spiritually, which is what you're doing with every single meditation in the course. You see that? Okay, when you are, programming the affirmation and visualizing a person living the law, you are, you are visualizing and working at your person's spiritual growth. You see? If you keep doing these laws, these meditation scripts, you will become an ebb person without even thinking about it. It will happen. You see that? The mundane goal, which is the fourth step of the script, is the earthly thing that you need in life, or the earthly thing that somebody needs in life. You might be like, well, I have everything. I have good money. I have a good job. I have a nice dog, doesn't talk back to me, and so forth. I have everything that I need. Then now see somebody having a blessing. You see that? Okay? You know somebody that needs something. So, but growing spiritually will happen in the programming the affirmation and the visualization of your person living the affirmation.
So I know the hour's getting late. We just have a few more Shechem.
Sure.
Sister Gallimore asks, how important is it to remember the exact words of the truism? Sometimes the understanding of the truism comes before the words, and I find that I lose the exact words.
So let me see if I can understand that question. How important is it to remember the exact words? Well, if you have problems remembering the truisms verbatim, okay, and to avoid that, the affirmations are all very short to help you remember them and things of that nature. But if you have problems remembering them, but you have the understanding of them, okay, as long as you don't change the words too much, okay, the understanding will achieve the same goal that you're seeking to achieve with the meditation script.
We had another student who wanted to know if they're at a challenging point in life where they have to make certain decisions, how would you incorporate that into a script when you're not clear on what the goal is that you need to achieve? Say a person is trying to figure out their career or something of that nature, or if they should get in a particular relationship. How would you apply that to a meditation script?
Well, what you do is that's a good question, right? Career is a means to an end, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Let's say your career is you want to become an environmentalist. Then now in the fourth stage of the meditation, which you're going to visualize a person enjoying the earthly blessing, the mundane blessing, right? See yourself working in a work environment, really helping to, improve the environment. Okay, where you're contributing to cleaning up the oceans, ridding of plastics, or assisting, the the global warming or so on. Okay, or let's say if your career is to become a doctor, see yourself enjoying helping people to become healthy. You see that saving lives. Or if you want a career because you need to help your family, see you and your family members living in a house that you will need and so forth. So, so think about what you want to achieve with what you want to achieve.
Okay.
It could be an end in itself or a means to an end. You see that?
And the last one is, how do you visualize or meditate on getting rid of negative thinking or integrating positive thinking?
Okay, very good question, right? And one of the things that we don't do in mind science is to never focus on the negative thought. Focus on the positive thought that's going to replace the negative thought. You see that? And that's why if you go over the meditation script in the course, you find that the first step in the meditation script is an event that normally triggers a negative response within you, which you're not going to focus on. The second step of the meditation is to focus now on the affirmation of the law that should be playing in your mind as a triggered event from the activity that you're working to change. You see, the response you're working to change, meaning that let's say that somebody, is in the habit of insulting you. So you visualize a person insulting you, and your next step is to affirm the law of, let's say, Amen. Peace is my nature. Thank you for making me peaceful, by nature, so that I can, maintain my health, etc., 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 right? Then the next step is to see a person, being insulted by that person while you're smiling. You see that? See a person, one day having a good relationship with that person. You're able to speak, harmonious manner and so forth. Then the next step of the script is to then see you enjoying a worldly blessing for having lived the law of Amen with that person. You see? So and then I'll thank God for this knowledge and for this way of life. So these 5 things is what you will focus on in your mind. You didn't focus on the negative thought. You focus on the positive divine response. You see? And so that is important to understand, because once you focus on the negative thought, it's going to make you, it's going to induce a stress response within you. You see that? It's going to bring your energy down. You see? And the more you focus on opposing a negative, the stronger you're making it, because when you focus on something, you are sending energy to it. You see that? That's why the Qigong people visualize, their kidneys, for example, to send, because if I'm visualizing my kidneys, I'm sending energy to my kidneys. You see that?
Mm-hmm.
That's another esoteric scientific course down the road. You see that? If I in the last stage of the meditation, the 4th step, I'm visualizing seeing, a friend of mine healing or becoming successful on their job. That seeing that person in my imagination is sending energy to them. I'm focusing on them. So whatever you focus on, you're sending energy. You're sending chi, life force into it. So that's why we don't oppose the negative response within us. We just simply replace it with affirmation of the law, visualization of living the law, visualization of enjoying, a blessing, and then giving thanks to God, which is the most joyous part of the script.
So how would you answer people who say that's the reason I have difficulty? Like in this situation, if you say, see the person insulting you that's been insulting, been disrespectful on your job or whatever, that you are not sending an energy to cause them to insult you if you're seeing it in your meditation.
You're seeing a person insulting you. Okay, if the person is in the habit of doing that, they're going to do it again.
Mm-hmm.
So you're best to prepare for it. If you don't prepare for it, you're preparing to fail, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you talk, this is a habit that the person has. So see them doing it and immediately see yourself reciting the affirmation of the law. Immediately see a person now, interacting in a positive manner with the person. And then see your person enjoying a mundane blessing because you responded in the situation as a divine being. And then give thanks to God for knowing this and doing this. And eventually what's going to happen is that, the negative thoughts that usually came to you when a person insulted you will stop coming to you. It will totally replaced by the sequence of these steps that we have just gone through. Especially the day will come when you find yourself enjoying the realization of that mundane blessing.
And is it appropriate then to see that person changing their behavior or not put that in
No,
your...
you see your person, acting in the third step of the script. You see a person acting in a harmonious manner with a person. You have control over what you do. You don't want to control what the other person does. You leave that up to God. The person might change their mind, but not have the fortitude to come out and admit it. The person may not change their mind. They might end up losing their mind, but it's not up to you. Control you. Control what you can do.
Well, this is great. This is definitely a lead up to next week's, Thursday's session. Just one more. I know we're over time, Shekem, but Sasen says, if you're meditating using one script and then a conditioning that seems unrelated is aroused, should you revise your script to incorporate removing the newfound trigger, quote unquote?
If you're working on a script and a conditioning that seems unrelated is aroused, I would just simply say, just keep working with the first script. You may not see how it relates, but there's a relationship there, and that will become apparent to you down the road. You see that?
All right. Well, we are way over time, but this is such an important topic. And Shekem, would you share the plan for Thursday? Because we've been talking about meditation and meditation scripting, and I believe Thursday is completely devoted to the principles of a meditation script.
Yes, we will work on, because the people have not really been taught meditation. We grew up in this Western world. We learn how to pray, but the prayer, the praying that we learn is already packaged for us. You have a Bible, you have a book, say this prayer, say that prayer, but we don't learn the inner workings of it and how to use it and compose it and things of that nature, and how, and we do it. And lots of people they pray in a waking state of mind, so they don't go into the subconscious, into the soul, to reprogram the soul. So we talk about that, Thursday, so that people can understand why they need to meditate. You see that?
Wonderful. All right. Well, Shekem Ra Un Nefer Amen the first. We appreciate so much the hours and hours that you put into this course. And with that, we want to bid you a good evening and greet you with the words of power, peace, and blessings. And there's a lot of fire in the chat. I see that. A lot of appreciation. Thank you all for being here. And we say a netcharak to you, Shekem.
Thank you all for sharing this lovely evening with me. Peace and blessings to all of you. I'm feeling your energy.
And we are blessed by yours. So yes, thank you all again for being here. One of you asked about the Metu Neter series, the books. Yes, we are in the process. This is Kamitic Legacy. We're the new digital publishing arm of the Asar Set Society and Un Nefer Amen. And we are in the process of reformatting and reissuing. So you can look forward in the next few months to a lot of great changes in being able to get some of those books that have not been available after COVID and all of that type of thing. So appreciate your patience. What you want to do is definitely visit our website at www.kamiticlegacy.com. Or better yet, you can even go to Maat11laws.com. Right there it is. And make sure that you, put any questions you have in the help desk there, and we'll be glad to get back with you and put you on the contact list so that when new products and so forth are available, you will be one of the first to know about it. Okay, and let's see here. All right. Have a great evening, everyone. Peace and blessings. Someone asked about Ankh Ra. You can get his music on iTunes, Google Play Store. Here he is. And we send blessings to him and his family for all of the years of great work and putting the message in the music. So we'll see you Thursday night, 8 o'clock. Hetapu.
Love is giving, expecting nothing in return. Love is giving, expecting nothing in return. Nothing in return. Love is giving, expecting nothing in return. Nothing in return. True love is giving, expecting nothing in return. Nothing in return. I am you, you are me. The love we share inside is heavenly. This is true for all to see, that our souls unify in a common destiny. The time is now, let's start today. Gotta see each other in the highest way, 'cause everyone is a reflection of all there is. Nothing in return, nothing in return. I'm giving, expecting. nothing in return. Nothing in return. Love is given, expecting nothing in return. Nothing in return. True love is giving, expecting nothing in return.